Well, the Nintendo suits strike yet again on emulation. Well, sort of, right? The Dolphin emulator devs have abandoned their efforts on putting it on Steam. But not for what you think. Let's get into it. In this article by PC Gamer, by Wes Fenlon, after being kicked off Steam, Dolphin emulator devs say Nintendo's legal claim is a reach. Now that we have talked to a lawyer, we are no longer concerned. Pretty bold. Continuing, the lawyers representing Nintendo wished to create a narrative where the DMCA's exemptions do not apply to us. These exemptions are powerful and widely in our favor. So this is good. This is interesting, because we all already know that Nintendo just doesn't like emulation, and they fight for their IPs, their intellectual property, full force with literal knocks on your door. Continuing on, 6 weeks after GameCube and Wii emulator, Dolphin was removed from Steam due to a letter from Nintendo claiming it violates Nintendo's intellectual property rights. The emulator's developers have issued a detailed response to the Dolphin blog. The response, with the input of legal counsel, announces that the Dolphin team will not be reattempting to launch the emulator on Steam. We are abandoning our efforts to release Dolphin on Steam. Valve ultimately runs the store and can set any condition they wish for software to appear on it. Given Nintendo's long-held stance on emulation, we find Valve's requirement for us to get approval from Nintendo for a Steam release to be impossible. Yeah, I mean, the whole emulation system, the whole emulation game, no pun intended, is a quite interesting one, especially on gaming properties. This is a fairly thorough article, so I want to get to all the big points here. The Dolphin blog pushes back on Nintendo's claim that the emulator violates the Digital Millennium Copyright Act. That's what DMCA stands for. So, by including proprietary cryptographic keys used to decrypt Wii and GameCube games, and declares that it will not be removing the Wii's encryption key from its source code. This sounds extremely bad at a glance, and we certainly had a moment of panic at first reading it, but now that we have done our homework and talked to a lawyer, we are no longer concerned, Dolphin does. We have a very strong argument that the Dolphin is not primarily designed or produced for purpose of circumventing protection. Continuing, this specific element of Nintendo's claim against Dolphin requires a bit of explanation because it was widely and heatedly discussed after the emulator was removed from Steam. In a video that pulled nearly 300,000 views, prominent game developer and emulation community member, Modern Vintage Gamer, great channel, check him out, said that the Dolphin have kind of messed this up, citing the inclusion of the Wii AES 128 common key used to decrypt games in the emulator source code. The Dolphin developers deny that including the common key in the emulator violates the anti-circumvention provisions of the DMCA, which forbids technology that is primarily designed or produced for the purpose of circumventing a technological measure that effectively controls access to work protected under this title. They say, considering that only a small fraction of what we do involves circumvention, we think that the claim that we were primarily for circumventing is a reach, says the Dolphin team. We do not believe this angle would be successful in a U.S. courtroom if it were to come down to that. The reason the lawyers representing Nintendo would make such a leap is because they wish to create a narrative where the DMCA's exemptions do not apply to us, as these exemptions are powerful and widely in our favor. It's getting pretty heavy here. Nintendo is a very big company, and it's, again, not to sound redundant, but they will protect their IPs at all costs. I don't, maybe because I'm not a lawyer, I just don't see this working out in the Dolphins devs' favor. But continuing, the Dolphin developers cite this full section of copyright law as a significant legal protection for emulation in the United States. The reason why Nintendo has yet to legally challenge any emulation with the DMCA anti-circumvention clauses, despite the law going into effect 25 years ago. Do not believe that Dolphin is in any legal danger, the post concludes. Planned features for the Steam release of Dolphin, including big picture UI with controller support, will still be finished and made available in the emulator in the coming months. I mean, this is... I don't... I as far as some sort of opinion on this, I don't know. I just feel like Nintendo is so big with so much money that their lawyers will find a way to go after these devs. But it's unfortunately these days when we want to play certain games, like for example, Mario RPG on the Super Nintendo. The only way you could really play that is with a physical copy, which goes for over $100. You need the Super Nintendo system or emulation. How do you archive and preserve these games when the physicals are no longer available, are completely washed out? Or like I have Conker's Bad Fur Day on Nintendo 64. That game's worth over $300 now. And who wants to spend $300 to play a game that is a rare release, pun intended? How do you feel? How do you feel about emulation? Do you have the Dolphin emulator? I have ran it with games that I already own, and it runs. It's pretty impressive. Do you think that the devs are a little too cocky? Maybe. What will eventually transpire from this? Let me know in the comments down below. Like, subscribe. Appreciate you guys. Talk to you.